Hello students, welcome back to Dashadevige grammar classes. Today we shall have a discussion on letter writing. Now do you all have the habit of writing letters, students? Of late it has become a very rare practice. People generally send SMS messages or email. The very act of letter writing has become quite rare these days. But anyway, from the examination point of view, students, you need to learn the art of proper letter writing. Now, letter writing is broadly classified into two categories. We have the formal letter writing and the informal letter writing. Now, under the formal letter writing, the business letters, letters of applications to the heads of the educational institutions, etc., or letters to the editor of the newspaper complaining about a particular problem in your locality, all these you put under one big group called the formal letter writing. Now, apart from this formal letter writing, students, we also have something called the informal letter writing. Now, informal letter writing is personal letters, letters that you write to your friends, to your parents, to your grandparents, to any of your relatives, etc. We put it under a group called informal letter writing. Now, letter writing is one of the questions that appears in your SSLC board examination, whether you are a first language English student or a second language English student. Now, it is generally given for 5 marks. Now, under this 5 marks, the format, that is the pattern of letter writing, would carry about 2 or 2.5 marks, and the body of the letter will carry about 2 or 2.5 marks. So, the format you have to be very, very clear, students. The business letters or the formal letters have a different format, while the personal or the friendly letters or the informal letters has a slightly different format. You should not be getting confused with the formats of these two kinds of letter writing. Now, let us just start with one letter writing. Okay. Now, there are certain terms that you need to understand or you need to be aware of, whether it is a formal letter writing or whether it is an informal letter writing. We have the from address, then we have the date, the to address, then salutation, then we have, if it is an informal letter, you don't have the subject, but if it is a formal letter or a business letter, you have the subject followed by the body of the letter, then you have the subscription and the signature. Now, all these are parts of the format of the letter writing, whether it is a formal letter or an informal letter. Now, are you all ready, students? Please have a pen and paper in hand so that you can make a note of the format, the body, etc. Shall we start with the first letter, students? Now, the first letter says, write a letter to your friend inviting him or her to celebrate a festival with you. I repeat, write a letter to your friend inviting him or her to celebrate a festival with you. Now, this is an informal letter because it is a letter to your friend. It is not a letter to the heads of the institution or to the editor of a newspaper. It is just a friendly letter or a personal letter, or you could even call it as an informal letter. Now, what is the format? The format is you need to have the from address, that is your address. Then you need to write the date. After that, you have the salutation. Now, what do we mean by salutation, students? The way you start the letter. Now, since it is to your friend, you shouldn't be writing it as my dear friend. Your friend obviously has a name, isn't it? And since it's a personal letter, your friend would like to see his or her name written on the letter, right? So, do not write my dear friend. Write the name of your friend, whether it is that of a boy or that of a girl. After that, you begin the body of the letter. Then you have the subscription. Now, what do we mean by subscription? SUBSCRIPTION. That is the way you end the letter. So, the way you start the letter, The way you develop the letter, the way you end the letter, all these things matters in the body of the letter. So you have 2 marks for the format and then you have 3 marks for the body. If it is an informal letter, if it's a formal letter, you will have 2.5, 2.5 each. So please, you can get easily 2 marks or 2.5 marks, students, if you are thorough with the format of the letter. The body of the letter will carry either 3 marks or 2.5 marks. Now, shall we begin? So, since this is an informal letter, students, on the right hand side of your paper, okay, I repeat, on the right hand corner of the paper, you're just going to write your address in short. Okay, just write the address. Below the address, you will write the date. So, shall we write the address? Now, we'll just write it as Bangalore. Okay, and then the date. What is the date? Okay, we'll write it as 6th November 2016. So, this is the right hand corner because this is a personal letter. You write this on the right hand corner of the page. Now, you move to the left hand corner of your page. You have to start the letter, right? So, what do you call that as? You call it as the salutation. Okay, so under the salutation, you would, since it is a letter to your friend, I told you, do not write the word friend. Instead, what are you going to write? The name of your friend. Okay, so let's write it as my dear. Okay, whose name are you going to write? Write any name you want. Okay, so let's write it as my dear Rajiv. Okay, now after you write my dear Rajiv, there should be a comma. Alright, now this you call as the salutation, right? This is the address. I've just written it as Bangalore. The reason is here they are just asking you to write a letter to your friend. You need not be very specific about the address. Sometimes in your letter writing, students, in your board exam, they can say, imagine you are Rajiv or Rajita or Ranjita. Okay, Rajiv or Ranjita, and then they give you in short the address. That time you will have to write the address here. If they don't ask you to imagine yourself to be someone, you just can write Bangalore. If you want, you can write the pin code also, say Bangalore 40, Bangalore 23, Bangalore 79, whatever, and then after the place you write the date. Now, my dear Rajiv, what do you call this my dear Rajiv as? I told you it is called as salutation. If you want, within brackets, students, you can just write the word salutation. S-A-L-U-T-A-T-I-O-N. Okay. Now you begin with the body of the letter. Now, what is the topic that they have asked you to write on? Inviting him or her to celebrate a festival with you. So, recently we have finished the Diwali festival. So, let's assume that Diwali is not yet over and you've got 4 days of holidays and you want your friend to join you in bursting crackers and having a good time, right? So, my dear Rajiv, how do you start now? How are you going to start the letter? You cannot simply start away with the sentence, look, I want you to come and celebrate the Diwali festival here with me. I hope you will come. Yours lovingly. No. It's very abrupt way of beginning, right? So, how are you going to write? I hope this letter finds you in good health and spirit. So, you write, I hope. You can leave about 2 finger space after the margin, students. Okay, I hope this letter finds you in good health. Now, you need to start next to the margin itself because that's how you indicate that you have begun the paragraph, right? I hope this letter finds you in good health and spirit. All right. And then it's a long time since I have written a letter to you. It's a long time since I've written I apostrophe VE, which is a short form of I have. I've written a letter to you. How's life? That's how you ask, no? How's life? How's life with you? How's life? Put a question mark. Okay. Then you can write, what else are you going to write? How's life? I'm quite happy and a little busy and a little busy with my studies. Full stop. Well, Rajiv, you know you also have about 4 days of holidays for Diwali, and same here with me also. Why don't you come, Rajiv, and spend the 4 days of your Diwali festival with me? Let's enjoy, for old time's sake, let's enjoy bursting crackers and having a feast of the lovely dishes that my mother is going to prepare for the festival. You know you love my mother's cooking. You always tell she's a very good cook. She prepares mouth-watering dishes. Now all these things you can write, students. Why? Because it's an informal letter. And the person who's reading the letter should also feel happy. Right? So we can just, so how have you written? I hope this letter finds you in good health and spirit. It's a long time since I've written a letter to you. How's life? I'm quite happy and a little busy with my studies. Well, you have about 4 days of holidays. About 4 days of holidays for Diwali. And I want you to write this letter D in capital letter. You may wonder why. That is because Diwali is a name of a festival, correct? So it's like a proper noun. Proper noun wherever it is, whether it appears in the beginning of the sentence, whether it appears in the middle of the sentence or at the very end of the sentence, students, the position of the proper noun doesn't matter. But what really matters is the first letter of every proper noun must and should begin with a capital letter. So I asked you to write letter D in capital letter. Okay. So well, you have about 4 days of holidays for Diwali, don't you? Remember, we have done question tag, students, don't you? And then, why don't you come and spend those days with me? Why don't you? Why don't you come and spend the 4 days of holidays with me? Why don't you spend the Diwali holidays with me? Holidays with me. Since it's a question, we'll end it with a question mark. We shall have fun, great fun, bursting crackers and feasting. You know very well, my mother prepares mouth-watering dishes and you always enjoy my mother's dishes. So you can even have those mouth-watering dishes that you love prepared by my mother, as well as we can have a jolly time bursting crackers. So we'll write that, okay? So we shall have great fun bursting crackers and feasting. You have always loved my mother's cooking. Always loved my mother's cooking. Mother's apostrophe S. You've always loved my mother's cooking, right? Then what else can you write? You've always loved my mother's cooking. Come on, think, students, what else can you write? I'm sure you'll enjoy the mouth-watering dishes prepared by my mother. The mouth-watering dishes prepared by my mother. Prepared by my mother. Looking forward to your arrival. Looking forward to your arrival. Hope you won't disappoint me. You won't disappoint me. So we finished with the from address, the date, the salutation. What is a salutation, students? It is my dear, and then you have written Rajiv, right? So that my dear Rajiv becomes the salutation, and remember I have put the word salutation within the brackets, salutation, and then we began the body of the letter. Now the body of the letter is complete. Now we need to end the letter, right? So that ending of the letter we call it as subscription. subscription. That is how you end the letter. The closure of the letter, you call it as subscription. Now in an informal letter, you begin the letter in the left hand corner and you end it in the left hand corner. In the informal letter, you begin it in the right hand corner. I repeat, the informal letter, you begin it in the right hand corner, therefore you end it also in the right hand corner. And in an formal letter, you begin it in the left hand corner and you end it also in the left hand corner. Okay, so do not get confused and don't mix both the format of formal and informal. Then the format, what you have, you will lose out on your format. You may not get full 2.5 marks or 3 marks for the format because you have mixed up the format of the formal and the informal. Right, students? What did I say? Informal letter, you have begun it in the right hand corner. So you end it also in the right hand corner. So haven't we begun it in the right hand corner, students? You've written the address and the date in the right hand corner. So now we need to end the letter, the closure of the letter, or what you call the subscription. So since it is an informal or a friendly letter, what are we going to end it? How are we going to end the letter, students? You will be ending it as yours lovingly or yours affectionately. And when you write yours, there's one common mistake which I keep seeing no matter how many times I tell the students in class also. You put an apostrophe mark after, or rather before, the letter S. Yours in the letter writing will not have any apostrophe mark. You put an apostrophe mark, then the mark that is allotted for the subscription will be deducted. Please, I repeat, do not put the apostrophe mark before the letter S. Whether it is the formal letter or informal letter, yours will be without the apostrophe mark. Now, shall we end the letter? Now, we have begun it in the right hand corner. So, we will end the letter also in the right hand corner. So, what are we going to write? Yours. Am I going to put an apostrophe mark? I told you not to put an apostrophe mark. Yours lovingly. And a comma. If you don't want to write lovingly, you can even write yours affectionately. Now, if you're going to write affectionately, what is the spelling? AFFECTIONALLY. That is the spelling of affectionately. But you might go wrong in that spelling. So, better to use a simple word, yours lovingly. Or you can even write your loving friend, your affectionate friend. That time you'll have 3 words. So, if you want to have 3 words, then you will have to write your loving friend. Please, are you all attentive? If you want to use the word friend, then it is not going to be yours. It's just going to be your loving friend. YOUR. Your loving friend or your affectionate friend. Otherwise, it is only going to be yours lovingly, yours affectionately. Now, there's no space. That's why I haven't written that word, students. But if you want to know the spelling of affectionately, what is it? AFFECTIONATELY. Put a comma, and now you need to end the letter how? You are going to sign. So now this is an informal letter, correct? And it's not given like you imagine yourself to be, Radha or Raja. No, nothing like that. So you cannot reveal your name, you cannot disclose your name anywhere in the letter writing, students. Therefore, you write yours lovingly and write XYZ or ABC. Now, why you need to write it as XYZ or ABC? Because you are not going to reveal your name anywhere in the examination paper. Nowhere in the examination paper you have to reveal your name. Therefore, what are you going to write? Yours lovingly, comma, X, Y, Z. X, Y, Z. Alright. Or you can write A, B, C. But if they have asked you to imagine yourself to be some person, they would have given you a name. Say Akshay or Ashok. Imagine you are Akshay or Ashok. That time what are you going to write? Yours lovingly. If you are a boy, you will write Akshay. If you are a girl, you will write Asha, whatever the name is given, right? So here, what have I written? X, Y, Z. Why have I written X, Y, Z? Two things. Because I am not supposed to reveal my name in the answer paper. Second, they have not asked me to imagine myself to be someone. That is why write it as X, Y, Z. Now you know, children, no letter will reach the person concerned without the to address, right? How will the letter reach without the to address? You have written all this and there is no to address. So again go back to the left hand corner of the page, okay? And there you will write the to address. Now who's the person to whom you have written the letter? We have written the letter to Rajiv. Any address, they are not going to see whether the address is right or not, as long as some address is written. So we go back to the left hand corner and we'll just write to Rajiv and then write the address. Just you can write number 14 Srinagar, Bangalore. That's it. Over. That's all. Nobody is going to ask, verify, find out whether the address what you have written is right or not. It is just an what? Of one of the most important things in the format of the letter writing. Okay, so you need to write it and that is why you have written. So we finished with one letter. Yes, we finished dealing with one informal letter and we have written the letter to Rajiv asking him to come and spend the Diwali holidays with you, and then the leave taking is also done, the subscription is done and the to address also is written. So any doubts? Let's move on to the next letter, students.